All right, welcome to day one of skill 3. So skill 3 is all about multiplying fractions by other fractions and solving word problems. So the skill is set up to where we first start understanding how to multiply two fractions to each other, and then we use that information to help ourselves solve some word problems. If this is the first skill you've been working on, then let me explain the sheet. I created this kind of guide to help you understand how long things should be happening and what you should be doing on each day, so that if you don't finish stuff on the day, that you can take it home and finish it. So you know what it means to be on schedule, and that I know what you're working on, so that I can better help you to understand the math if you start to struggle. So you're going to be watching this video, and we're going to be looking at some different pages about the Geoboard perimeters and the rectangle review. So here we go. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to think about it. And then you'll use this page, just like I am doing, to kind of add some notes down, put some thoughts down, and we'll go from there. So what is the area of this rectangle? How would you figure that out? Go ahead and take a moment and think about that, and then unpause it when you're ready to talk. All right. Hopefully you understood that to get the area of this rectangle, we need to know what this side length is and what this side length is. And right now we don't. We don't know if we're what the measurements are, so we can't actually do the calculations. We can't figure this out. So let's skip down to this. What information do we need to answer this? That's right. We need to know the dimensions, or the units. We need to know the dimensions and the units of the rectangle. Because if we're measuring in inches, that's going to be inches squared. If we're measuring in centimeters or millimeters, that's going to change our answer. So we need to know the units. So are we doing inches, centimeters? We need to know the side lengths. And then we multiply. All right, so I know what these lengths are, so I'm going to tell you that right now. This is 4 inches, and this side is 6 inches. So what does that make this area? That's right, hopefully you realize this is 24 square inches. Remember, it can't be just inches, because we're taking those two units and we're kind of looking at that whole thing. We're combining them together. So if we were to say 24 inches, that means it's just 2 feet a straight line. When we start saying square inches, then we're getting into the dimensions of that flat space. So those are different things. And so now that we know this area, how do we figure out perimeter? So can we figure out the perimeter of this rectangle? Yes, we can. We can, because we know that the opposite side of the rectangle is equal. So this is 6 inches down here. And we know that this side over here would be 4 inches as well. And how do we find perimeter? We add the sides together. Okay, we add the sides together. So this down here says, how are perimeter, area, and multiplication related? Well, a few different ways. Rectangles are used for multiplication a lot, right? We've done a lot of array work, chunking work, all that stuff when it comes to multiplication, area model with rectangles. They are very useful strategy for that. So that would be one. All right, so we multiply sides to get the area. If you know the sides, you can find the perimeter. Obviously, you could also find the area. You do need to know the sides. If you know the area, and one side, you can figure out the other. using division. And then finally, a rectangle area is a good model. For multiplication. So let's go back up here. We know what so one of the points I made there about knowing one side. So if I knew that it was 24 square inches and that this side was 6, I can do 24 divided by 6 and that'll give me that 4. So what is the perimeter of this rectangle? All right, we have 4 and 6, that's 10, and then another 10, so it would be 20 inches. 20 inches, because that is a line. So we're really just taking these lines and making one big line of 20 inches. All right, we're adding those together, so it's still a length, whereas square inches is this area of that page there. Hopefully that is making sense for you. All right, so if we're looking on the next page, it says that the area of this geoboard, is 1 square unit. So this side times this side gives us 1 square unit. So Jason is saying that the perimeter is 4 linear units. Do you agree with him? Why or why not? So take a moment. If you're working with a partner, talk to them about this. If you are working on your own, maybe jot some notes. Do you agree with them? Yes or no? All right, hopefully you agreed with them. Because if this whole thing is 1 square unit, that means this side is 1 linear unit, and this side is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. All right, and if one side is 1 and the other side is 1, that means all sides are 1, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do have 4 linear units. Okay, now let's move on. We know that this is 4 linear units. What about this rectangle here in A? What do you think if we looked at A? Okay, or no, let's not do A. Let's start with B. So we're going to look at this rectangle here, B, and if you want, you can kind of look down at this one. Okay, if this whole thing is 4 linear units, because this side is 1, this side is 1, 1, 1, what are the lengths of B? And we're going to be just thinking about perimeter for now. So first, try and figure out what the lengths are for B, and then we can start talking about perimeter. All right, so if this whole thing is 1, then this side of rectangular B is 1/2, right? So this is a half. Now what about this side? Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those would make 1 whole. So this would be 1/4. So now what is the perimeter of B? So I would write that up here. So perimeter equals, oops. Well, the perimeter equals what? 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. I have to remember that I can combine like denominators here. So I have 1/2 plus 1/2. That's going to get me 1. And then 1/4 plus 1/4, that is 2/4 or 1/2. So my total perimeter is 1 and 1/2. All right, so now it's your turn to try and figure out the rest of the rectangles. So draw each rectangle in the boxes provided. So you can do A and here by itself. And then we have the more Geoboard perimeters. So you're going to want to draw each of the remaining rectangles into those different geoboards and try and figure out what are the side lengths of each one, and then with that information, just what is the perimeter. So we're just thinking about perimeter right now. We'll be trying to figure out area tomorrow. if you finish that, I have added a IXL strand that you can be looking at as well. All right. And obviously I will be doing the solutions as well. So work and then check your answer to see how things are going. All right, so here is rectangle A. So here is 1/2 on this side. And then what about this side? Remember, each one of these is a 4th, right? Because that's what we had figured out over here. So we have 1, 2, 3 of those. So we have 1/2 by 3/4. So how do I figure that out? Well, 1/2 and 1/2, that's going to give me 1 whole. And then I have 3/4 plus 3/4, which is 6/4. Now, if I'm looking at 1 plus 6/4, that's going to be a little bit difficult for me. So I'm going to take this apart to be 1 plus 1 and 2/4, which now gives me 2 and 2/4, or 2 and 1/2 as my perimeter. What about the next one? We have C over here. C looks like a square, doesn't it? So we have this side and this side. So this is 1 2/4, which is a 1/2. 1 2/4. A half. This is a square. So we have 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. So we have 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, and then another 1, which is 2. So we have 2 linear units. Moving on to our next rectangle. So again, we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 by 1/4. So we have 1/4 plus 1/4, which is 2/4 or 1/2. 3/4 plus 3/4, which is 6/4 or what, 1 1/2. And then we add all those together to get 2 linear units. Hey, that's the same as that. And our final one is a 1/4 by 1/4 square. So 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. So we got 1 linear unit, which makes sense. It's like a 1/4 of that. But it's a 1/2. I have to think about that. Is that how that works in big numbers? So if this was 2 by 2, it would be 4 square units, and then 1 by 1 is 1. So yeah, that. Did I do something? 1/2. Oh yeah, no, I'm not thinking. I was thinking about area there, not perimeter. All right, everybody. So if you finish this and there's still time left, please work on the IXL strand. Let's attach this about figuring out perimeters. Bye.